Let's look at the elif statement in Python. As pointed out before in the microbit, it was actually called else if, and in Python it's called elif. So we have to keep the same structure as we did in the microbit, or where I showed you in the microbit, where we got an if statement. Then we can have an elif statement, not else if, elif. And we can have as many of these statements as we like, elif statements, but the last statement must be else. So the structure is if, elif, else. Else does not have a condition, it just has a semicolon at the end. Remember, a condition is a test, whether it is equal to something, greater than something, or not, something that works out to be true or false. Elif must also have a condition. You can't just have a semicolon on the end, it won't work. So we need a condition. So in this one, I'm going to write color is equal to, and I'm going to choose a new color, blue. And then at the end of that line, just like with the if and the else, the elif also ends with a semicolon. If you miss that out, it's not going to work. So now I can give another statement, print blue is a cool color. So now I've got really three tests. So it's either red, or it's blue, or it's some other color. So if I run that, let's close the shell down. If I run that program now, please enter a color, red, red. Red is the color of danger. Run the program again. Please enter a color, blue. Blue is a cool color. Run the program again. Green. I have never heard of that color, because I don't have an elif statement to handle that. But if I wanted an elif statement, I could. So, and remember, when you put a new statement in the orange, if you remember the scratch and the microbit statements, that they always started on the left hand side and had a little gap for the programming. It's the same as here. The orange ones always start at the same level. I'm not going to say starts at the very beginning, because later on we'll see how our program sort of goes further and further to the right, and the elifs and the ifs might not be on the very first line. But at the moment, because that's where I've started my if, my elif must be in the same position, my else must be in the same position. So if I need a new elif, this one must start at the same line. Elif color, make sure I spell it right, color is equal to green, and don't forget a colon at the end of that line, otherwise it won't indent. Print the grass is also green. And now I have four options: red, blue, green, and some other colour. And I can keep adding colours as I go along. So if I now run that, I'm just going to check it for green. We've seen what happens when we do red and blue, and that's what we had with green before. I hadn't heard of it. So this time if I enter green, it says the grass is also green. And that just leaves me, well, what's another colour? Let's try black. I've never heard of that colour. So you can see how you can keep adding elif statements as you go along. And this is a very, very powerful way of programming. In other languages, such as Java or C++, it has this structure, but it calls it a switch statement rather than if and elif. In fact, some languages don't have else if at all. So this could be called a switch statement, but the important one is the bottom one, the else clause. We call that the default, D-E-F-A-U-L-T, F-A-U-L-T, and we say that these match. Okay, these match, and if they don't match, or if something doesn't match, the default statement is used. So that's for anything other than the matches that we've got. So that is elif in a nutshell. I'm going to start now looking at logic in a bit more detail, particularly these statements here. Colour equals red, the colour equals or is equal to blue. We're going to start looking at logic and how we can just use true or false on these statements to help us out.